Welcome back to the OSM channel. As you can see, the entrance to my shed has a few issues. We have several rotting boards, and thus every time I go in and out of the shed I risk rolling an ankle, so I need to get this fixed up today. Only trouble is, the wife and I have agreed to cut all unnecessary spending for the next several months. We just had a baby girl. She came a little bit early, was in the NICU for a few days, but thankfully she's here, she's healthy at home, and she's doing quite well. Only trouble is we have private insurance, and I'm expecting that we're going to hit our out-of-pocket max with these medical bills, so we're looking at probably around $9,000 to $10,000 for this girl coming into the world. But we're happy she's here, but that just means we need to cut all unnecessary spending. So for projects like this, I have to get a little bit creative. Now, for replacing these boards, obviously I could pick up some free pallet lumber or try and find some free lumber on Marketplace. However, I have my MS-261 chainsaw at my disposal, and I think I have a few down logs up in the forest. So in today's video, I'm going to attempt to mill my own lumber with my MS-261 without using any type of special chainsaw jig, right? Because when you see guys milling lumber with a chainsaw, typically they have like an Alaskan chainsaw mill, or some guys manufacture their own special jigs. There's some other attachments out there, but for one, I can't spend any money on a jig this month. Two, I could potentially manufacture my own jig, but I just don't have the lumber supply to justify putting that much effort into manufacturing my own jig. So I know it's possible to freehand mill lumber with a chainsaw because I see the guys up in BC, British Columbia, do it all the time, so I'm gonna try and be like them today. Beautiful. I purchased this can hook at a yard sale probably 10 years ago. I think I spent $20 on it, and I've used it maybe twice. It definitely needs some work. I find that the hook never really digs into the log. I probably could fix it by sharpening it up. Maybe I should look into that. But what I'd like to do is try and roll this log a little bit further downhill. I figure if I get it to that flat spot there, up on a few pieces of wood, I'm probably gonna get much better results. To improve my chances of having a successful result here, I've decided to break out the chalk line, and we'll snap a nice straight line to follow. It should definitely help out. For no mill, that doesn't look half bad. So what can I tell you after the first pass? Well, I thought it'd be better to have the bar spikes biting into the log, but I actually found them to be more cumbersome than anything else. When I tried to pivot the saw on the bar spikes, I felt like the bar kind of wanted to do its own thing, maybe shift in one direction or another. Additionally, I'm pretty far away from the chainsaw when I have the bar spikes biting into the main part of the log, so that makes things a bit uncomfortable. So I think this next pass, I'm going to try cutting with the bar spikes on the outside of the log, and we'll just try and eyeball it. I think everything will cut a bit more evenly. Additionally, it should be easier to guide the bar, believe it or not. It's a lot of work, but I think it's going to work out just fine. So let's dust this off a little bit. We'll take a measurement, try and figure out how thick we want this, hit another chalk line. And another thing I've learned, after you make your chalk line, it's a really good idea to take your bar and just scribe in that chalk line, because otherwise that chalk line is going to get lost under the sawdust after, you know, cutting in for 20 or 30 seconds. So you really got to scribe a line in if you're going to do it this way. So how are things going so far after these first 3 pieces? Well, the first piece went really well. It was a nice, smooth, even cut, and I think part of the reason why it went so well, for one, it's a little bit thinner, right? It's only 10 inches, and 2, my technique. So the first technique I implemented, I tried to keep the bar at one angle, going all the way down along the length of the log, which I think that worked really well. Now the second piece, I decided to change it up a little bit. I decided to, of course, scribe my line, and then I'd use the dogs a little bit to kind of work my way in, straighten out, dig in, and then work the dogs in. And it worked okay in the beginning until I got to the end. You can see it got pretty thin towards the end right here. Actually, there's pretty much nothing here. So this piece is probably junk. But the third piece, I used that same technique, and I tried to keep a little bit more meat on the board, and it actually worked out all right. Where I first started out, it's about perfect. You know, it's like 2 inches here. But as we go closer to the end, you can see it gets closer to maybe 2.5 inches. Additionally, with that technique of using the dogs to kind of dig into the wood, it's left some lips. Like you can see it sticks out right here, but I can knock that off pretty easy, but that makes it a lot more challenging when I got to come back in and try and cut another slab. So that'll clean up no problem. I'm not sure how our next piece is going to go. I'll probably flip back over to the other side of the log, have the dogs on the inside of the log, and we'll try and get one more piece, clean these up, and try and install them on the shed. All right, let's remove these old boards. Put the new board on. I think I'm gonna have to cut this to size, no big deal. It's all part of the fun. Well, I gotta tell you, I'm really pleased with how everything came out. I think it looks a lot better than what I would have been able to buy at the store. You know, the biggest challenge with trying to mill lumber with a chainsaw without any type of mill or jig is trying to get the thickness of the boards even. And you saw that I had to do a lot of trimming on this board to get it to fit, mainly because of the varying thicknesses between this board, and, you know, the thickness of the floors. Like this varied from close to 3 inches, probably down to like 2 inches. So, I mean, you saw in the video, it took a lot of custom trimming. I had to notch out the edges to really tuck this in there. Had to trim some of this to get these two surfaces flush. But all in all, I think this came out quite beautifully. Another thing I had to do to try and line these two pieces up and get this seam to close up a bit is I took the chainsaw, and I think you saw it there as well. I just kind of came down on an angle, the same angle as this board, just to kind of line everything up, try to keep a 2-inch space, and just tried to match the profile of this line, and it closed up real nice. I'm really happy with that. Actually, I'm wondering if I should keep a little space in between these two to allow debris to fall through so we don't encourage rotting here. But anyway, the final thing to do is throw some fasteners in here, and we'll give this a quick sweep, and that'll be the end of this job. Well, I'd like to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching my videos. You watching my videos allows me to earn a little bit of money, which will help pay for the $10,000 it costs to give birth to my daughter, because we have such a wonderful medical system in this country. But then again, what is money without the people we love? Anyway, I'd like to thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing. If you have a future video idea, please drop it in the comment section down below. Again, thank you for watching, and as always, I will catch you on the next one.